There's a study out of Harvard that found most Americans couldn't accurately guess how much they spent last month, even within a $500 margin. Not because they're irresponsible, not because they don't care, but because the system they're using to track money was never designed to make them think. Apps auto-categorize, notifications get swiped away, and by the end of the month, there's this gap between what you thought you spent and what you actually did.
That gap?
That's not a math problem. That's a psychology problem, and in Japan they solved it. Nearly a century ago, the word Kakeibo, pronounced Kakeibo, roughly translates to household financial ledger. It was invented in 1904 by a woman named Motoko, one of Japan's first female journalists. She created it not for accountants or finance nerds, but for everyday housewives who needed a simple, honest way to manage the family's money. Here's what made it radical then, and what still makes it radical now: it's done entirely by hand, on paper, intentionally, no app, no spreadsheet, no algorithm doing the thinking for you. And that's not a limitation, that's the whole point. Here's where behavioral psychology comes in, because this is where it gets interesting. Researchers at Princeton and UCLA found that writing something down by hand activates deeper cognitive processing than typing. When you manually write $340 on DoorDash this month, your brain actually confronts that number in a way that an auto-filled spreadsheet cell never forces you to. There's even a name for this: the generation effect. Information you produce yourself, rather than passively receive, is dramatically more likely to stick and more likely to change your behavior. Kakeibo weaponizes this. Every purchase you record by hand becomes a small moment of self-awareness, and those small moments, compounded over a month, completely rewire how you make decisions. The method itself is built around 4 questions. You answer them at the start of every month and revisit them at the end. Question 1: how much money do I have? Write down your exact income this month, not an estimate, the actual number. Question 2: how much do I want to save? Here's where most people fail. They save what's left over. Kakeibo flips it: you decide your savings number first, before you spend a single dollar. Question 3: how much am I spending? This is where the daily log comes in. Kakeibo breaks spending into 4 buckets: survival, rent, groceries, utilities; optional, eating out, entertainment, subscriptions; culture, books, concerts, museums, personal growth; and unexpected, the car repair you didn't see coming, the medical bill, the gift you forgot about. No judgment in the categories, just clarity. Question 4: how can I improve? At the end of the month, you sit with your numbers, your handwritten numbers, and you ask yourself that question honestly, not with guilt. With curiosity. That single shift from guilt to curiosity is where the real behavior change happens. Now, Japan and the US are very different financial environments. So here's how you adapt Kakeibo without losing what makes it powerful. First, do the monthly reflection digitally if you have to, but do the daily log by hand. Even a $3 pocket notebook works. The act of writing a purchase down in the moment is the friction that makes you pause before the next one. Second, add a 5th bucket: debt. Japan has one of the lowest household debt rates in the world. The US doesn't. Track your minimum payments, your interest charges, your progress. Making debt visible in your ledger changes your relationship with it. Third, use Kakeibo's regret column. This is an optional addition some practitioners use. After logging an optional purchase, you write 1 word: worth it or regret. Over time, patterns emerge. You'll notice that the $14 impulse buys almost always land in the regret column. The experience-based purchases almost never do. That data, gathered by your own hand, becomes the most personalized financial education you've ever received. Studies on Kakeibo practitioners in Japan show that people who use the method consistently save an average of 35% more per month than those who don't. Not because they earn more, but because visibility alone changes behavior. And it makes sense. You can't change what you can't see. And you don't truly see something until you've written it down yourself. The irony is that in a world drowning in financial apps, the most effective budgeting tool might be the one that takes you completely offline. Here's what I want you to do this week. Get a notebook, any notebook, doesn't matter. And for the next 7 days, write down every single purchase by hand, not in an app, not in your notes, by hand. At the end of the 7 days, sit with those pages. Answer the 4th question: how can I improve? Don't judge, just look. That's it. That's the whole practice. Because Kakeibo isn't really about budgeting. It's about building a relationship with your money, one where you're the one paying attention. And in a world designed to make you spend without thinking, that attention is everything.